Welcome back, everyone. 8 Ukrainian children are now back with their families after being kidnapped by Russian soldiers during the war. The effort was spearheaded by First Lady Melania Trump, who announced the reunion on Friday. It was all ignited by a letter she wrote to the Russian President Vladimir Putin ahead of his summit with President Trump in Alaska earlier in the fall. NewsNation's Alicia Nieves is here with more. Alicia, what do we know about how this happened?
Yeah, I mean, it appears right now that this has been in the works for months now, since that Alaska summit in August. You got First Lady Melania Trump saying on Friday that since that summit between President Trump and President Putin, she has had this, quote, open channel of communication with the Russian leader. At the time, the First Lady, as you pointed out, on social media, her account posted a letter that she wrote to Putin. And in that letter, she talked about the innocence of childhood, how it's universal amongst kids around the world. She called on Putin to protect, quote, the innocence of these children, saying that releasing them would serve humanity more than Russia. That was nearly 2 months ago. And then on Friday, this surprise White House address from the First Lady, where she said Russia had agreed to release some of the kidnapped Ukrainian children and return them back to their parents.
And have been rejoined with their families during the past 24 hours. Each child has lived in turmoil because of the war in Ukraine. 3 were separated from their parents and displaced to the Russian Federation because of frontline fighting. The other 5 were separated from family members across borders because of the conflict, including 1 young girl who has now been reunited from Ukraine to Russia.
Yeah, just look how young those children are. The 8 that were released make up a really small portion of those that have been taken by Russian forces. The Yale Humanitarian Research Lab estimates that about 30,000 Ukrainian children have been, quote, deported to Russia or Russian-friendly outposts like Belarus. The First Lady did say, though, on Friday that the 8 that were returned are just the start, but we've got, what, 29,992 at least left to go.
Yeah, 8, we'll take anything, but it seemed like a low number to me, but it's a start. And we'll take it. And First Ladies have had a long history of taking up social and political causes while in the White House. Some of them a bit more well publicized than others.
Yeah, I mean, it's important if you're in that powerful position to kind of take a stance on something important. Obviously, we're seeing that with Melania Trump. But let's kind of look at what we've seen in the past. Modern day Nancy Reagan became famous for her, Just Say No campaign, urging Americans to avoid drug use. Barbara Bush regularly appeared on her own radio show, Mrs. Bush's Storytime, to stress the importance of reading aloud to children and staving off illiteracy. Hillary Clinton was a known proponent of universal health care and led the White House task force on health care reform back in the 90s. Laura Bush, kind of like her mother-in-law before her, also pushed for literacy and education, establishing the National Book Festival in 2001. Michelle Obama was well known for taking on childhood obesity and hunger. And as a mom of 2 young girls, also focused on girls' education, Dr. Joe Biden launched the first ever White House initiative on women's health research. And then Melania Trump, in her first term, took on bullying with the Be Best program. So Melania Trump saying now the safety and well-being of children will be her focus of the second term as First Lady of the United States. And starting with this initiative, 8 parents got to be completely, utterly happy right now.
8 families ecstatic this morning.
Yeah.
Alicia Nieves, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.